Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's Python tutorial, we are going to cover one of the most important data structure that you have in Python, Python list. So let's get right into it. As I said, Python lists are one of the most important data structure that we have. The reason being it allows us to store multiple variable into a single element and then access those elements one by one or however you want to access them. Okay, so let's see how it exactly works. So let's get into our Google Colab. As you know, we are doing all the coding with the help of Google Colab only. So let's get into that. We will open up a new notebook and we are going to rename it. It is taking some time. Kindly bear with me. Yep. Okay. Lists. Okay. So let me connect to the runtime. All right. Perfect. Let's start by creating some list. How do we define list? We define lists with square brackets. Okay. So let's say I want to create a list, something like that. I can simply provide a square bracket, open and close. Oh, let me zoom up my screen. I keep forgetting. Yeah. Now I think it's visible, right? Yeah. All right. So it defined list with multiple items, right? So 10, 25, 36, 85, whatever you want, you can provide. Print A, you'll get the list. And if you also type of a, you'll get what? Class as list, okay? That's how the class list is defined. You remember during our string sessions or integers, I mean number sessions, every point of time, if it is a string, it defined as a string. If it is integer, defined as int. If it was a floating point number, it would have defined itself as a float, right? The same way, this particular item that you see over here that is containing multiple items 10, 25, 36, basically integers, it is called as list. Okay, now lists can contain, okay, let me close it up. Yeah, multiple data types. What do I mean by this? So let's say I'm saying it's a string list. Okay, so I can simply say, let's say b equals to apple, banana, blueberry. Okay, now let me print at the end, and if I do this, so we can see that a here is basically containing integers, right? This b is containing string values, and the c over here is containing floating point numbers, right? So even if I print type of b, or even if I type c, all are list. So what this tells us, that a list can contain multiple data types. It can be a integer list. Let me just put up over here integer list. Okay, so it can contain string values, it can contain floating point number, and obviously it can contain our integer numbers. Okay, Now, apart from all of this, a list can contain mixed data type elements. So what do I mean by this? That in a single list, you can have string, you can have integer, you can have floating point number, okay? So let's say I'm creating a list, something like this. Apple, a string value, 25, an integer, 10.50, a float point number. And if I print D, if I print type of D, it continues to be the same. It only tells us about a Python list, okay? So we can have different data types, we can have mixed data type inside a list. Clear, everyone? Now let's talk about accessing and slicing list, okay? So it's as simple as the way we have accessed our string values, okay? So let's say I have the D list, right? And if I want to print D, I want to access the zero indexed element, okay? So it will simply tell me that the zero indexed element is Apple. If I want to access the first index element, it is going to tell me 25, okay? If I want to access third index element, it will throw an error. Why? Because there is no third index. I have 0, I have 1, I have 2. Okay. And I think you remember during our session on Python strings, we have discussed in detail that how exactly these particular indexing work, right? So if you want to just have a quick recap, you can simply go back to the string lesson. The description is in the comments of the particular video, and you would be able to check it out. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna keep it till 2. Okay, all right. This is accessing the list element, right? At the same point of time, what did I say? I can say that we can slice it as well. So let's see if I want to print. Let me take up a bigger list, okay? So let me do something like this. I will take up this. Let me name it LST and then add some more element, okay? So 15, 44. 89, maybe some floating point number, 52.53, 10.45, something like that, okay? So this is a list. Now, as you can see, it has given me, if I want to access, let's say, from first index element till, let's say, fifth index element, okay? And if I run this, what it is giving me, banana, blueberry, 15 and 44. How exactly it is giving me the same? So first index is what? Banana. Then till fifth, that means it is going to give me only item till fourth, right? You remember we only take one data before. That's also there in the string lesson. So you can definitely check that out. So one, two, sorry, first index, second index, third index, fourth index. Okay. Fifth obviously is not going to come. So this is where we have sliced the list, okay? And here I'll just simply write accessing the list, okay? Now the same way the string to work, negative indexing also works in list. How exactly? So let's say I have this lst, right? Yeah, so if I simply type minus 3, it is going to give me 89, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, okay? Apart from indexing and negative indexing, you can also use your step function into a Python list, okay? So if I call step function in list. It works as like as it did with Python strings. Okay, so what you can simply do, you can simply print lst. Let's say I want to start from the index 0. I want to go till index, let's say 6, and I want to go one step ahead. Okay, so I'll get apple, banana, blueberry, 15, 44, 89. Okay, so I'm getting through every single step. Now, if I make it 2, after apple, I'll get blueberry. After blueberry, I'm getting 44. Okay, 15 and banana are being skipped. Okay, this is how the step function work, and the step function also work with your negative listing. So if you simply want to go from, let's say, -5 to -1, and if you want to have a step of 2, you want to look into every second item, it is going to provide you the same. You have 15 and then you have 89, one step jumped. Okay, I hope it's clear, everyone. Now, one extremely important, I would say, definition, or you can say, I would say, something that defines a Python list is this, and you would hear this in your interviews a lot as well. Okay, lists are mutable. What does this mean? This means that list elements can be changed. How exactly? So let's say I have a list called LST, right? So if I simply print LST, I see that in my 0 index we have apple. Okay. So if I want to simply, let's say, do this LST, and I want to change the 0 indexed element, LST is 0, and I want to make it, let's say, orange. Okay. And then if I print LST, you see, apple has changed to orange. We can change the element of a list. Okay. Now, apart from changing, we can also add elements into the list. Okay. So there is a method called append method for adding elements. Okay. So how does that exactly work? So let's say lst dot append. Yeah, mango. Let's say mango. See, mango added at the very last as the very last element of the list, right? So if you use the append element, it will add the element at the very end of the list. Okay. You also have a insert method. What does the insert method does? So lst dot insert, but this time what you need to do, you need to pass on an index. So let's say I am passing on 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, third index I have. So third index I want to add, let's say, grapefruit. Okay, done. And then if I print list, you see grapefruit added, but 15 is also there. So insert is not changing the element. It is just that in the insert you are passing on the particular index where you want to push this particular item. Hence, the existing item that was there would be pushed back to one index further. Okay. That's how adding element in the list works. Clear, everyone? We talked about adding the elements to a list. Okay. Now let's talk about how we can remove the elements from a list. Okay, so there are different methods how we can do. So let's say there is a method called remove method. What this exactly does? So lst dot, let's say, remove, I want to remove, let's say, orange. Okay, and then if I print lst, see, orange is removed. Okay, so that's the first method where providing elements name is crucial. Okay, that's the first method. Then we have a method called pop method. So what this basically does, lst dot pop. Okay, then if you print your list, see, it popped the element from the very last item. Okay, and there is something significant over here. So whenever you pop an element, na, so this line of code actually takes up this variable. The very last variable is taken. I'll show you how. So right now my list contains the element where 1045 is the last element, right? So if I, let's say, if I take a variable, let's say if I take var1 as a variable, and here if I write list dot pop, and then if I print var1, it will contain 1045 because the pop item or the pop function takes up the last element and it actually gives you in return. Okay, see, 1045 came as your output. Okay, so that's something crucial to remember, how exactly the pop method works. Pop method goes into the list and it deletes or removes the very last element. Okay, clear everyone? Now we have seen that how we can remove with the help of remove method. We have seen how we can remove the last element with the help of pop method. Now let's say how we can do it with the help of del method. Okay, del method has two ways. The first method, let me show you. Okay, so let's say del list, let's say one, first index element. So blueberry should be gone. See, blueberry is gone. After banana we have directly grapefruit. Okay, now there is a particular method called clear method. What this does, this basically clears up your list, so it gives you a blank list, so every single element would be removed but the list will remain. Very important to remember, this will clear all the items from the list but the list will remain. Okay, so if I do this lst dot clear, and if I print list, it will give you a blank list. This is how a blank list works. Okay, you can also initiate a blank list. Let's say lst1. If you simply type on this, it will still be a list. Okay, lst1, it would be a blank list, but you can check that this would still be a list. The class is still going to be a list. Okay, now if you do this lst, this would remove the entire list. This would not simply clear, this would delete the list. So after this, if you somehow try to print lst, it will throw you an error. Why? Because right now you have simply removed the list. It does not exist anymore. So that's the main difference between clearing up a list and deleting a list. Okay. So clearing simply removes the elements that is within the list, and delete removes the entire list. But again, there is a catch. If you use the del method with the help of an index, right? So the way I have done over here, in that case, only the indexed element will be removed. The rest of the list will remain. Clear? Now, there are a number of things, or I would say a number of operations that you can perform with the help of a Python list, right? So let's say I have something called lst1 and I am assigning a value like 1, 2, 3. I have something called lst2. I have a value like let's say 4. 5, 6. Okay, so I have two lists over here. If you do this, print lst1 plus lst2. Initially, you might think that it is simply going to add 1 with 4, 2 with 5, 3 with 6, right? But no, that's not how it's gonna work. It will simply add the element of list 1 with the element of list 2. So if I print this, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It will simply print it out. Okay. In the same way, if you do this, print lst1 multiple 3. See what this did. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the entire element section of the list 1 is multiplied with 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, again 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, now it is absolutely possible to work with these individual elements of one list with another. Okay, but for that we need to have an idea of loop, and loop is something that we are going to cover in our upcoming lessons. So do not worry, when we cover loops we will definitely go through how you can do the integer level, or let's say arithmetic level functionality within multiple lists. Okay, do not worry, we'll definitely cover up that. Now let's say if you want to copy a list, I am assigning a value called lst3, and what I am doing, I simply want to copy this. Okay, so I'll type copy, done. And now if I print lst3, it is going to give me the lst2 elements 4, 5, 6. Okay, this is how you can cover it up. Now apart from this, there are functionalities that you can use of a list. So let's say for the list 3, I have this right now. Okay, so if I want to print the length, that means how many characters or how many elements do I have in list 3, it is going to give me. Okay, the same way if I want to perform max, if I want to perform the minimum. Okay, we'll get everything. 3, 6, 4. We are getting everything. The maximum is 6. The minimum is 3. Okay. I'm sorry, the minimum is 4. There is no 3. 3 is the length. My bad. Okay. This is how we can do it. Now there is another concept called nested list. What exactly a nested list? A nested list is nothing but a list within a list. So let's say I have lst4 and I have multiple elements. Let's say 1, 5, 6. Okay, and within that I have another list. I have 5, 6, 9. Okay, and let's say within that also I have another list. I have 10, I have 8, I have, let's say, 63, whatever is there, right? So it will simply work. Print lst4, you'll get all these elements. Now remember, in this lst4, this is my 0 index, this is my second index, first index, second index. This list, this 5, 6, 9, and this element is my third index, right? So if I want to access this, sorry, print lst4, I have, right, lst4, and I want to go to 1012 to third index, I'll get this one printed. Okay, clear everyone? Now see the beauty of it. If I want to access elements, okay, so if I print lst4, my this list 569 and this entire list 10, 8, 63, this is in what index? 1 is at 0 index, 5 is at 1 index, 6 is at 2 index. So this is my third index, right? 0, 1, 2, 3. I'll get this, right? 5, 6, 9 and this entire element. Now let's say I want to even dig further. Now I want to get into this. So this particular element is at what index of this particular list? 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So if I print this 3. I'll get 10863. Now, within this also, if I want to access this one, this is at what index? 0, 1, 2. Okay. I will be getting 63. Clear everyone? This is the beauty of a nested list. You can get into as deep as you want. I hope it's clear. Let's conclude our session for the day here only. And as I said, down the line, when we learn about loops, when we learn about different kind of process that loops go into, we will definitely be looking into the other options of listing, where we can actually perform different kind of list arithmetic functionality. There is a term called list comprehensions and all of these things, right? We will get to know about all of these things. So, thank you till then. And and as I keep saying, keep supporting. I'll see you next time. Thank you.